As a certified man-eater, my philosophy was simple: a good time, not a long time. Physical? Absolutely. Catching feelings? Hard pass. I never expected to crash and burn for Rowan, the golden retriever of the swim team. I willingly cleared out my roster just to play house with him. My eyes traced the sharp cut of his chest, dipping down to his abs and that unfair, deeply carved V-line. I grabbed the hem of my dress and yanked it over my head, letting it pool on the floor. Rowan's gaze instantly darkened, heavy and consuming. The sweet, golden boy vanished. His breath hitched, the sound rough and jagged in the quiet room as he spoke. Let a man handle that. Settling down? Not in this lifetime, please. Look at me, flawless skin, legs for days, killer curves, and the literal blueprint for the coquette aesthetic. I was the absolute CEO of roster management. I couldn't buy toothpaste without 3 guys asking for my IG. I kept a solid rotation of a dozen guys in my DMs, weeding out the weak ones every month. Then, I froze. Holy shit, who was he? That skin. That jawline. That build. I let my gaze drop, taking a subtle, sweeping look below his waist. Damn, he was packing. I leaned into Harper, layering on my most sickeningly saccharine voice, begging her to get his number for me. Fuck off, she said. Fine. I'd do it myself. A cold draft hit the back of my neck, bringing a bad premonition that settled deep in my gut. And yep, the universe hated me. The absolute second I hit the pool water, my leg completely seized up in a brutal cramp. Right as I was closing in on my target, one more meter, and I could have feigned a delicate, helpless swoop right into Rowan's arms. Instead, I was thrashing and sputtering like an absolute idiot. Right before I blacked out, I clawed frantically at the water until my fingers finally curled into fabric. Where's my catch? Where is he? I asked. Harper leaned into my line of sight, rolling her eyes so hard they almost got stuck. Your catch thought you were literally craving seafood. He went to get you spicy takeout. What? Is this a riddle? You passed out and woke up mumbling about your catch, she continued. I don't know whether to applaud your dedication to the roster or be disgusted by your sheer thirst. Wait, what? I didn't even get to touch him, and he just bounced? Hold on. My fingers were locked in a death grip around a clump of wet blue spandex. Holy shit. Are these swim trunks? Rowan's panicked face right before I went under flashed through my mind. Fuck. So here was the million-dollar question. How did these come off? And who pulled them? Shame. A minute earlier and he would have caught me hooking my bra. Now I was fully dressed. Tragic, really. Hi. Rowan stared firmly at the linoleum floor, refusing to meet my eyes as he shoved a takeout bag onto the bedside table and pivoted toward the door. Like hell I was letting him walk out. I stretched my long leg out, blocking his exit. You go to state, right? A dark flush crept up his neck. God, he was cute. Technically, I'm your upperclassman, I added. May, call me mommy, huh? His head snapped up, staring at me, wide-eyed and lost. When it finally clicked that I was messing with him, the tips of his ears burned crimson. Oh, he was precious. I tapped a fingernail against the plastic bag. What did you get? It's from that famous spicy seafood place down the street. I thought you might like it. Jesus, this boy was going to be the death of me. I dug into the food, keeping my eyes locked on him the entire time. I deliberately dragged my tongue across my lower lip, tasting the spice. Damn. So tender. I loved it. Thank God this place used boneless fillets. With the way I was practically undressing him with my eyes, Rowan looked panicked enough to choke on a stray bone. I finished the last bite and let out a soft, satisfied sigh. I leaned back, looking up at him through my lashes. Thanks for this. I'm glad you liked it. It had been way too long since I'd played with a golden retriever this pure. I let out a soft, breathy laugh. I wasn't talking about the food. Then what? I curled my index finger under his chin, tilting his face up as I let my voice drop into a soft, liquid purr. Take a wild guess. A dark, furious blush dragged up his clean-shaven neck, swallowing his cheeks. God, I hadn't even started playing dirty yet. He was so young. So fiercely out of his depth. A boy this pure was practically begging to be devoured whole. I closed the distance, letting the heat radiating off his skin hit me. A fine sheen of sweat gathered on the bridge of his nose, whether from the spicy food or the sheer proximity. I didn't care. He was gorgeous down to his pores. I'll take good care of you, I said, snatching up my phone and sliding into his contacts. What's your name, golden boy? Rowan. I tapped the tip of his nose, slipping my hand into his front pocket to fish out his phone and type my name in. Wifey, that's the only name you need to know. I leaned in and pressed a quick, claiming kiss to his lips, marking my territory. I hadn't even unleashed a fraction of my playbook, and I already had him wrapped around my finger. Clubbing and shopping took a massive backseat. My newest obsession? Winding Rowan up just to watch him unravel. On our first official date, he waited downstairs. I took a dangerously long shower, swapped outfits 3 times, and perfected my makeup. A full hour ticked by, and my phone didn't buzz once with an impatient text. I stepped out of the elevator and instantly spotted him. Rowan wore a crisp white varsity jacket, looking criminally handsome and ridiculously wholesome. He stood intensely hunched over a claw machine in the lobby arcade, completely oblivious to the huddle of girls whispering and staring at him. One brave soul adjusted her top, flushing heavily as she stepped up to shoot her shot. Oh, hell no. That was my target. These college freshmen didn't stand a chance. I closed the distance in 3 long strides, hooking my arms firmly around his neck and planting a loud, unapologetic kiss right on his cheek. The girls gaped at me, a messy mix of absolute shock and bitter jealousy. I flashed them a razor-sharp smile. Good. I hated marking my territory twice. Rowan jolted, a deep red flushing the back of his neck as he reached into the prize chute and pulled out a small, plush white bunny. I just won this. Or you. I gave his nose a playful squeeze, flashing my sweetest smile as I invaded his personal space. Winning a stuffed bunny is boring, Rowan. Catch me instead, and we can make babies. A collective gasp echoed from the peanut gallery. They probably thought I was absolutely shameless. Let them. I owned the game, their opinions meant literally nothing to me. Rowan snapped his gaze toward the floor, the tips of his ears burning bright red. What do you want for dinner? I closed the gap, my lips brushing the sensitive shell of his ear as I exhaled a warm breath against his skin. You're on the menu. The sheer panic in his chest hitching against mine gave me an absolute rush. Satisfied with my handiwork, I finally stepped back. We hit up a Korean barbecue spot, and I didn't lift a single finger the entire night. A strategic pout, and my sweet boy meticulously grilled the brisket, slicing it into perfect, bite-sized pieces and placing them directly onto my plate. He even arranged the dipping sauces in a neat little semicircle around my chopsticks. The green flag energy was blinding. With how sweet and attentive he was being, I fully intended to spoil him rotten. We finished dinner just past 9. Perfect timing. I successfully lured him back to my apartment, fully planning to lock the door, strike while the iron was hot, and end the night tangled in my sheets. Except, the second my hand slid under his shirt, he completely froze up. He caught my wrists, his pulse hammering wildly against my palms as he stammered that we were moving way too fast. Fine. He was too damn cute to push. I could let him survive another day or two. It was clearly his first rodeo, and I could afford to be merciful. Besides, the best meals require slow, agonizing anticipation.